Now, South African motorists are waking up to yet another hefty fuel price increase. That this price of petrol has increased by between R1.08 and R1.14 a litre. Diesel now costs between R1.93 and R1.96 more. It's the fourth consecutive month of fuel price increases in this country. The Energy Department says the hikes are due to elevated crude prices and a weaker rand. Let's unpack this for you now, bring in the CEO of the Organization Undoing Tax Abuse. That's Duvenage, who joins us via our video link this morning. It's great to have you on the program, albeit on this kind of discussion, Wayne. Thanks very much indeed for your time. And let's face it, it's the kind of increase that will leave many people exasperated at best, if not completely disillusioned. Talk about tough times.
Oh, yes, and it doesn't get any better with all costs around us going up, but this has a direct impact on commodity prices, food specifically, as we move a lot of our goods around the country on roads. And it's just gone up again after going up last month. We've been up above this level before in the past. But our, it really does come down to our weakening rand and the international oil prices that continue to rise. And
that's the thing, yeah. The last time we were here was July last year. But yeah, the point I was about to make is that it's difficult to think of what we can do because South Africa, in many instances, is a price taker when it comes to the price of our petrol.
Yes. Yeah, we have no option. We are at the mercy of geopolitical dynamics around the world. We do produce through Sasol, but not enough to meet all our needs, not enough to meet only even half our needs. And our refining plants have been closing down because it's just too costly to keep them at the levels and revamp them to cater for the new specifications of petroleum-driven vehicles. And so now we buy our petrol refined as opposed to in oil and then refine it here. And not all of it, but most of it. And that adds to costs as well.
Some people will tell you there are things, though, that we can do. I mean, during COVID-19, we saw government essentially stepping in and relaxing some taxes and subsidies. When do you reckon that kind of intervention will be warranted again?
Well, I'm not sure if it will. I think this is the one time we can give credit to the Minister of Finance, who after years of impressing upon government and previous finance ministers to stop this incessant increase every year in April of the fuel levies. For the last 2 years, he hasn't increased that levy. Yes, during COVID, it was reduced for 6 months or so. But they had to bring it back up. I mean, the fuel levy brings them about 90 billion rand a year, and they haven't increased that for the last 2 years. That's never been done before. Neither did they increase the road accident fund. So there's been some hidden relief. We don't see it now because the oil prices and that are going up in that space. But still, our taxes are far too high. 50% of what we pay is not based on the actual fuel, the basic fuel price. It is on about 9 different additional items that add up to a large percentage of our fuel price.
And then you try to square that with the state of some of our roads. I can almost hear some government officials saying, actually, some of our national roads are, in the best condition. You won't find any roads like that anywhere else. But there's real concern, for instance, for people in the municipalities. I mean, part of that revenue is meant to go to upkeep of our roads. Compound that with the fact that our rail system isn't working, and so there is an added burden on our roads. And it really does leave people, as I mentioned before, disillusioned about where all of this is going.
Yes, it does. I think when government points out that our national roads are in a good condition, that is a small percentage of our total road infrastructure, and those are tolled roads, and they are handled mainly by concessionaires. So they shouldn't really rest on their laurels. The regional roads are in a diabolical situation, and as are our municipal roads. Our local, provincial and local governments are not spending the money wisely. We've worked out that for every 3 kilometers of road that or every 1 kilometer of road that we pay for, we could have got 3 just because of the inflated costs of corruption, middlemen, pricing, additional facilitation fees, and in all the corruption that takes place on infrastructure spending, especially in roads around the country that are handled by municipalities and provinces. So it's we've really just got to get on top of how we manage our finances. There's enough to go around. We just waste it. The quality of those infrastructure spend has to be redone again because we are not exercising good oversight by our various MEC's departments. It's just diabolical. Quite frankly, we really need to introduce fiscal discipline in our management of our funds in this country.
Yeah, and how long have we been saying that? Perhaps the fact that we're close to an election, you might feel like we're being heard. But, again, it certainly feels like these are conversations that have been had before. For many people, though, paying taxes actually isn't the issue. Even if the tax may be high, it's about whether or not people feel that this is value for their money. And I suppose the kind of exasperation that people are feeling comes exactly from that, right? Yes, I am paying this, I am barely making ends meet, but despite my own personal sacrifices, it just doesn't feel like it's going far enough.
Exactly that. We are the highest tax country in the world from that perspective, that you do get very little back for what you put into the country. And as I said earlier, there is enough. There's plenty to go around. We could really do good with all of these funds that government collects. It's just so sadly wasted through a number of factors, as I've said, ineptitude and corruption, maladministration. The list is long. And, it's becoming extremely frustrating to the extent that we're just losing too much talent. We're just getting people that are getting frustrated. And the more the spiral continues to go downwards, the harder it is to get out of this hole. So we need to do something, and we need to do something fast. And as you said, there's an election looming. Hopefully we'll see the change we need in this country.
Yeah, Wayne, I'm desperate for a glimmer of hope this Wednesday. Can we find refuge in the fact that this is cyclical, right? We spoke about us being price takers. You've mentioned that we have been in situations where this has been worse. I suppose there's really nothing telling us that things couldn't possibly get better in the future.
Well, I think they can. There's a lot going for us as a nation with our resources, with our diversity, with our tourism potential. And the world is waiting to invest in countries that offer security in this space. It's just that we're not doing that. We're not sending clear messages and clear policy decisions. And the media statement we put out yesterday is a point in question. A year ago, government made the decision to scrap the e-toll scheme. And here we sit in October 2023, a year later, and it hasn't been scrapped. It's just this inability to implement decisions. But we can, if we get there, if we get some values-based leadership, if we get leadership pulling in the right direction, the culture of our country is one that will get behind a government that makes sense, a government that sticks to its promises and makes decisions that are citizen-centric. So we've got to just be more active as citizens to raise the pressure on government and to make sure that they start behaving in the way that we expect them to.
Absolutely. Wayne Duvenage, the CEO of the organization Undoing Tax Abuse, thanks very much as always for helping us think through these different issues. Hopefully, better days lay ahead. Wayne, once again, thanks very much indeed.